Don Quixote, by Miguel de Cervantes, published in two parts in 1605 and 1615, is considered one of the greatest works of literature. The novel tells the story of an aging nobleman, Alonso Quixote, who becomes obsessed with reading chivalric romances and loses his sanity, transforming into the self-styled knight-errant, Don Quixote. Accompanied by his loyal squire, Sancho Panza, Don Quixote sets out on a series of misadventures, challenging windmills he believes to be giants and confronting various imagined enemies. Part 1. The ingenious gentleman Don Quixote of La Mancha. The novel begins with Alonso Quixote, an avid reader of chivalric tales, who eventually loses his mind due to his obsessive reading. Convinced that he is a knight destined to revive chivalry, Alonso renames himself Don Quixote and decides to embark on a grand adventure. He dons an old suit of armor, declares his love for a peasant woman named Dulcinea del Toboso, whom he imagines as a princess, and sets out in search of glory. Don Quixote's first encounter is with windmills, which he mistakes for giants, threatening the land. Ignoring the warnings of his practical neighbor, Sancho Panza, who becomes his loyal squire, Don Quixote charges at the windmills with his lance. The battle ends with Don Quixote being tossed into the air by the turning blades. As Don Quixote and Sancho continue their journey, they encounter various characters, often mistaking the mundane for the extraordinary. Don Quixote's delusions lead to comical and sometimes dangerous situations, but he remains steadfast in his belief that he is a true knight-errant. Part 2. The Second Sally of Don Quixote. The second part of the novel sees Don Quixote's fame spreading, thanks to the publication of a book about his adventures. This newfound recognition complicates Don Quixote's quest, as he meets characters who are aware of his delusions and seek to either exploit or cure him. One of the notable episodes is the Dulcinea del Toboso enchantment, where characters from Don Quixote's past adventures confront him and insist that his beloved Dulcinea is an ordinary peasant woman. Distraught but undeterred, Don Quixote believes that an enchantment has transformed Dulcinea into her current state. The novel also introduces the character of the Knight of the White Moon, who challenges Don Quixote to a duel. Don Quixote, despite his weakened state, accepts the challenge, and the outcome determines whether he will continue his adventures or return home for a year. Don Quixote is defeated and reluctantly agrees to return home. The ending, Don Quixote's death and legacy. Back in La Mancha, Don Quixote falls gravely ill. In moments of lucidity, he renounces his chivalric fantasies, acknowledging that he has been mad. He dies a penitent man, surrounded by friends and family. Sancho, profoundly affected by his master's death, decides to abandon his simple life and become a penitent himself. The novel concludes with an epilogue that addresses the publication of unauthorized sequels to Don Quixote's adventures. Cervantes defends the authenticity of his own work and expresses hope that the true ending of Don Quixote's story will be known. Themes and interpretations. Reality versus imagination. Don Quixote is a meditation on the blurred line between reality and imagination. Don Quixote's delusions and his persistent belief in the chivalric world contrast sharply with the skepticism and pragmatism of those around him. Satire of chivalric romances. Cervantes satirizes the popular chivalric romances of his time. Through Don Quixote's misadventures, Cervantes mocks the idealized and often unrealistic portrayals of knighthood in contemporary literature. Self-reflection and metafiction. Cervantes engages in metafictional elements, making the characters aware that they are part of a story. The characters grapple with questions of authorship and their roles in a narrative, adding layers of complexity to the novel. Madness and sanity. The theme of madness is central to the novel. Don Quixote's delusions challenge the conventional notions of sanity, and the characters around him respond to his madness in various ways, ranging from humor to concern. Friendship and loyalty. The relationship between Don Quixote and Sancho Panza is a highlight of the novel. Despite the absurdity of Don Quixote's quests, Sancho remains a loyal and devoted squire, providing both comic relief and genuine moments of friendship. Legacy and influence. Don Quixote is often regarded as the first modern European novel and has had a profound impact on literature and the arts. The character of Don Quixote has become an archetypal figure symbolizing idealism and the pursuit of lofty, often impractical, goals. The novel has inspired countless adaptations, including plays, operas, films, and paintings. It continues to be studied and celebrated for its rich exploration of human nature, its innovative narrative structure, and its enduring relevance in questioning the relationship between fiction and reality. In conclusion, Don Quixote is a literary masterpiece that weaves together humor, satire, and profound reflections on the nature of storytelling. Cervantes's exploration of the human imagination, the impact of literature on individuals, and the complex interplay between reality and illusion ensures that Don Quixote remains a timeless and influential work in the world of literature.